We like him so much, and he's to use his website for direct deposit, like we talked about. See what I did there? Okay. So he's got some good training about actually I'm not going to give that away, but I'm going to bring him up. So another partner of ours, Mr. Bill Riggs.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
Awesome.
Great. Glad to hear it. Well, get a couple things set up here and we'll get started. Guess it takes a minute. Takes a second.
It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
It's not fine yet.
Well, he's figuring that out. I want to congratulate you three getting the chairs. That's awesome. It's kind of nice, right, Miles? It's
It
2
is.
weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's comfortable. I'm going to start getting used to this.
Yeah, yeah. So you're taking your insurance exam in a week, right? A week from today?
I'm taking it on Monday.
Excuse me, Monday. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a little sooner than a week from today.
Well, okay. So if you when you pass your test, you might be back in this chair again.
I hope so.
potentially.
Let's make it happen out of it.
I've never had an opportunity to sit in these chairs. In fact, I'm thinking about just resigning and getting rehired so I can have a chance to sit in these chairs.
You're welcome to join my team.
All right. Look at that.
Melanie, how many weeks in a row is this?
4 weeks in a row. It's a habit. I like it.
That's great.
That's right. After 3 weeks, it's a habit.
That's right.
Something. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's good.
So, didn't tell me you were doing a video. Okay, it's gonna be fine.
Okay. All right, so before I get into this video that I'm going to share with you here in a second, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, really the opportunity that you all have here. Oh, that's supposed to stop.
The audio too.
What's that? Oh, the audio?
Yeah, you can keep talking.
Okay. So anyway, I want to just take a second and talk about the opportunity that you have here at Common Sense. And really understand that what our goal is here as representatives of this company is to become what I term as financial professionals, right? We're not just some company that's just pushing a product here or a product there. We are professionals here. And so when we sit down with a family, our goals and objectives should be to really try to help a family improve their situation financially. And you would be surprised how many people really need our help, especially for those of you that are new here in the company. There is such a great need for the products and the services that we provide here. And you literally have an opportunity to help families and change their lives forever financially by taking the time to educate them and teach them about money and what they need to be doing as they prepare for their future. And so some of the things that is included in that is, first of all, evaluating where they're at, right? When we do that, how do we do that? How do we evaluate where that family is at? What do? There's a form we fill out when we meet with people. What? A needs analysis, okay? Right, so we fill those out. And so we want to find out essentially where they're at, and we also want to talk about what their goals are financially. When do you want to retire? What kind of things do you want to do as you increase your income or maybe make make more money and are able to start saving for not just for retirement, but for other things down the road. And really get down to their goals and their whys of why they want to improve themselves and their financial situation. And so a lot of what's included in here, and you guys have seen this in the one-on-one presentation that we're all doing, there's several things that we offer. First of all, we talk about their finances and looking at their expenditures on a regular basis, maybe teaching them a little bit about budgeting. So many people don't budget. And if you could teach some concepts about having a budget, why it's important. And then another part of that is debt management. You know, if you could help a family figure out a way to pay off their debt a lot faster, and you can help them get out of debt, that oftentimes can be really life-changing for families. And imagine being able to have your home paid off, your cars paid off, you have really no debt, and so really the only living expenses that you have are, you know, gas, and of course you almost need a loan and need more for gas. But you know, just gas, groceries, just the normal month-to-month living expenses, and having no debt. If people didn't have debt and their home was paid for, would it be that tough to make it financially for most families? Okay? It wouldn't be, right? If you could help them get out of debt, it would be amazing. And teach them the principles of why they need to get out of debt and stay out of debt. Also, you know, there's a great need for life insurance. And I'm not here to talk about life insurance tonight, but it's important that you help families realize why they need to be protecting their family with life insurance. And a lot of us have had experiences in our careers where that has come into play, where a family's had somebody pass unexpectedly, and because they had life insurance that we helped them with it, they were not able, or they weren't struggling financially, okay? And so there's that. And then finally there's retirement, and what's the best strategy for retirement? I love the fact that we're just not a one-trick pony, if you will. We really do have a variety of products that are going to meet the client's need. And there's never a one-size-fits-all plan for everybody, but for the right person, there's some really incredible products that we have here to help people save for retirement. But I would say probably the number one thing when it comes to this company and the opportunity is the fact that for the right person, they could come to work here and make an income and change maybe their situation financially, maybe make this a full-time career, or maybe just to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Now let me ask you, if you've made an extra $1,000 for most families, if you made an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month, would that help most families? Absolutely it would, right? In fact, I would even go as far as to say is it could be life-changing for some families if you could just increase their income that much more. And that's really what the opportunity is here, is the fact that you can give somebody a chance to come in and make extra money, maybe make this a full-time career, and create a lifestyle that is beyond most families' wildest dreams. And that's what I love what we do. And so I'm going to touch on some specific things tonight, and that is debt management. And we've got some incredible tools and products that are available to each of us, and we just need to know about it. So we're going to spend some time on that. But before I do that, we got a little Saturday Night Live skit here. We're not, no volume.
No volume?
No volume.
Okay.
So
Try again.
okay. I'm not going to stand up here and act it out for you. So.
We just need two people that are good at reading lips. They can translate.
Yeah, lip sync. I like that. I like that.
Doesn't show anything else going on. All right, we're gonna cheat. We're gonna do this. No, it's not gonna work. You're gonna talk about the video apparently.
Well, that'll still the thunder. We have two videos too.
Okay. So the problem is we're not seeing anything.
Makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section
bump the audio off of that and see if we can get that.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, so be quiet, listen carefully, because this is important, even though it's Saturday Night Live.
I just can't get these numbers to add up.
Like we're never gonna get out of
Now we got no video.
Credit card debt.
We gotta have a video.
Numbers to add up.
get out of this hole.
Credit card.
Next time, not your town. Alright, so try again.
You guys are really quiet, that's great. Doing good.
No. Where is the remote?
It's on the left.
There's always fun technical difficulties when I want to make Bill uncomfortable.
I might be acting it out after all.
Yeah, bringing it up, absolutely.
Yeah. You ready to act this out on me?
I don't know why it's not detecting MLA1. Change the resolution maybe. It's showing a 2 up here. Anytime. There we go.
There you go, all right. You're the man. You're the man. All right. Okay, we'll try this again. I promise I'll try not to touch anything and mess it up. All right, here we go. This is hilarious.
Alright, just
Put captions.
turn on captions and we'll do the best we can.
I just can't get these numbers to add up.
Like we're never gonna get out of this hole.
Credit card debt. Does it ever end?
all good. Did we close them all?
This is
It
about to
did.
be great.
It's all right.
This is what happens when we don't bring guests in. I can get your history back at least.
You what?
I can get your history back.
Okay.
So.
Why is it your grocery order arrives the second you remember everything you forgot to order? Like, without fail. We'll drink all the milk. Fresh groceries everywhere. Unlimited free delivery. Walmart. You know. That with everyday low prices, you can spend a little less.
Credit card debt.
To get a little more.
I think the other
To
tabs
make
are-
life a little better.
I just can't get these numbers to add up.
Like we're never gonna get out of this hole.
Credit card debt, does it ever end?
Maybe I can help. We sure could use it.
There we go.
We've tried debt consolidation companies.
We've even taken out loans to help make payments. You're not the only one. Did you know millions of Americans live with debt they cannot control? That's why I developed this unique new program for managing your debt. It's called Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford.
Let me see that. If you don't have any money, you should not buy anything. Sounds interesting.
Sounds confusing.
No, honey, this makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section here on how to buy expensive things using money you save.
Give me that. And where would you get this saved money? I tell you where and how in chapter 3.
Okay, what if I want something but I don't have any money?
You don't buy it. Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway? No. Now I'm really confused. It's a little confusing at first.
Well, what if you have the money? Can you buy something?
Yes.
Now take the money away. Same story?
Nope. You shouldn't buy stuff when you don't have the money. I think I got it. I buy something I want and then hope that I can pay for it, right? No. You make sure you have money, then you buy it. Oh, then you buy it. But shouldn't you buy it before you have the money? No.
Why not?
It's in the book. It's only 1 page long. The advice is priceless and the book is free.
Wow, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we can put it on our credit card. So get out of that now. Like for your free copy of Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford. If you order now, you also receive series. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. Along with a 12-month subscription to Stop Buying Stuff magazine. So order today.
Okay.
Everything you're showing doesn't show.
All right. But this is fun.
Did anyone else have a connector? I know Austin did.
Let me go see if I can get the password in here.
So we're just having some technical
Mine
difficulties.
was left up there on inside the thing. I don't know.
Okay. We're just not getting any video out to online.
They don't have sound either, do you know that?
Well, I'm aware of that part because we didn't get sound through here.
Yeah.
So his HDMI is not sending any signals through there all the way.
Just like email it to you.
He is going to log into my laptop. And we're going to use my laptop with his resources if he can remember his password. Minor technical difficulties. We got an hour and a half, right? It's fine. Don't need to see that anymore. You have it? Okay, grab it for us. Let's see if that works. we're trying to get another connector too, so if this doesn't work, then we do have one other option. So you just need to go to the same tabs that you're doing here. We'll get this on standby in case. Need someone to tell some dad jokes. You got anything?
That's good for that.
When does a joke become a dad joke?
So I'm
When
gonna
it becomes apparent.
email these spreadsheets.
Oh,
I love that you actually had a dad joke off the top of your head.
So,
That's what I'm
yeah.
impressed with.
How do I
True
email
test.
these from Excel?
We should have like, you gotta get out of this. Dads.
Share.
I know.
Did you not push that? I thought that was the number one.
No, they missed that part. From Maxville Team Fireman.
Yeah, number one requirement, drop out of school.
Show your
You
commitment.
didn't push that.
Burn your boats. No plan D. Oh, right. You guys have more success.
Just text Mario.
Yeah.
It'll be required. You got a month left, you need to quit.
You know what it is.
Where are you at?
Let's go here to this right here. And go to desktop here. Go to debt to equity. And let's go to
I can work on that if you want to talk a little bit more about dad too.
Rod,
Okay.
they can't hear us talking either.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, they're missing out on all the jokes.
One fix at a time. All right, you can hear us now.
Woo-hoo.
okay. But, all right. Isn't this fun?
So great.
Okay. So can we see the video and hear the video if I play that on the website?
It's got one on this.
And we need to get it up on the screen too.
Yep. We gotta plug in.
Sweet.
Why is
So we got audio at least.
Okay.
I will work on this to get that there to you. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine.
Okay, all right. We adapt and overcome, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the debt to equity program. This is a product that's been available for you guys. Just trying to think ahead here is what I need to cover. So there's a website, as you can see right here, it's called debttoequity.net. I would write that down. So when you're sitting down with the client and you're doing the needs analysis and you find that they've got a mortgage payment, maybe a second mortgage, credit cards, student loans, whatever, they might potentially be a good candidate for our debt elimination program. And so rather than trying to explain how it works, we've done all the work for you, created this website, and a video on the website that explains how the debt program works, okay? And so I'm going to play that for you right here. So this is the website, debttoequity.net. I have no idea how to scroll down. This is a little different.
Use your arrow keys.
There we go.
It's a little slow, but it'll work.
This is fun. All right. Okay, so this is the video.
We are excited to introduce to you Debt to Equity Builders, a guide to financial freedom. Let's take a look at the current paradigm on how we look at finances. Every month when you receive a paycheck, you put that check in your checking account. The purpose of a checking account is to have a place to hold your money so that you can pay. We are excited to introduce to you Debt to Equity Builders, a guide to financial freedom. Let's take a look at the current paradigm on how we look at finances. Every month when you receive a paycheck, you put that check in your checking account. The purpose of a checking account is to have a place to hold your money so that you can pay for your mortgage, monthly expenses such as food, gas, and utilities. Then your monthly debts such as car payments, credit cards, and student loans. Hopefully, after all your bills are paid, there is money left over at the end of the month, instead of month at the end of the money. This is what we refer to as discretionary income, or money that is left over after our bills are paid. If you were to save that money each month, you would have $6,000 saved in just 12 months. If your goal is to pay off debt with that $6,000, then you would simply pay that towards your consumer debt, car payments, credit cards, and student loans each year until it's paid off. Once done, then your focus would be to pay off the mortgage. Over time, you will get out of debt. This system is what is referred to as snowballing your debt. Although it is a good way to pay off debt, it is not the best way to pay off debt. Our system Debt to Equity uses the method of fighting fire with fire, or in other words, using debt to pay off debt at an accelerated pace, much faster than snowballing. Let's look. It's time for a paradigm shift. In other words, to look at a way to handle finances completely different than what most are accustomed to. First, let's look at the value of your home. In most cases, there is untapped equity in a home. For most people, equity looks good on paper, but other than that, it really doesn't serve the homeowner if they don't understand how to tap into that equity and use it to their advantage. Our program does exactly that, where we use the equity in the home to attack and pay off debt. Here is how it works. First, you would set up what we call a debt to equity account, which is a home equity line of credit. Once that line of credit is established, you would use part of that equity to immediately pay off the consumer debt. The purpose for this is to simply restructure the debt by paying off the consumer debt with the home equity line. Why would you do this? Well, when it comes to consumer debt payments, they are traditionally higher as they are financed over a short period of time, such as 4 to 6 years. When that debt is paid off with the equity line, payments are factored on a 30-year pay period, which dramatically lowers the payment. Now, we certainly are not going to take 30 years to pay off that car. You will most likely replace that car 4 to 5 times over the 30 years. The goal is to free up money you're already spending and then utilizing that money to pay down the debt faster. Now, in your first month, after establishing your equity line, you will take your paycheck and put the whole check into your line of credit. What this will do, as you're reducing your overall balance, you are also reducing the daily calculated interest that you'll be charged as you now have a lower balance. Notice that the DTEB account does not stand for Diet to Equity. In other words, you will not have to starve yourself and not pay your bills. Let me explain. Notice that My Consumer Debt box changes to credit card. Going forward, instead of using a checking account to pay for your monthly expenses, you simply charge your expenses on the credit card. This would include gas, groceries, utilities, really anything that you can pay for with a card. Let's talk about how credit cards work. First, credit cards have a billing cycle that lasts 30 days. At the end of those 30 days, you receive a bill with a due date that is 20 to 25 days after the billing cycle. If the balance is paid off on or just before the due date, you pay 0 interest. That's 0. In fact, when using a cash rewards card, then the bank will pay you to use their card for free. This gives approximately 55 days to utilize the bank's money at no cost. Banks know that most people won't do this, but instead will carry a balance and pay high interest. Our program beats the banks at their own game. Now, we're in the second month and it's time to pay the mortgage. This is done by simply paying the mortgage right from the equity line. Then, when you get your check, you simply deposit it into the equity line. Next, day 55 comes and it's time to pay off the credit card. Then you continue to charge your monthly expenses on your card. Now it's month number 3 and you do the same thing all over again. Deposit your check into the credit line, pay your mortgage, pay the credit card when due, and continue to charge your expenses. Notice how fast we have paid down the equity line in just 3 months. So in month number 4, we do the same thing. And again in month number 5. On average, clients are paying off their consumer debt in 18 months. Some less and others a little more. Once the consumer debt is paid off, then our focus is to pay off the mortgage. We do this by taking the credit line back up by an amount to go toward the first mortgage. This will reduce the first mortgage balance and reduce the daily calculated interest on that first mortgage. Then you continue to follow the system we previously outlined to pay that down. Once it's paid down, then we do it again and again until the first mortgage is paid off. With our program, we can tell you right to the year and month when your debt, including your home, will be paid off. Most of our clients are paying that debt off in 8 to 12 years. Some are less and others are more. The point is, your debt is paid off much faster, saving tens of thousands of dollars in interest and cutting the time it would normally take to pay debt off to a third of the time. You know, banks have conditioned us to think that the only way we can afford to purchase a home is to finance it over 30 years. The thing we must understand is often it takes until about the 20th year before half of your payment goes to principal. So really, you're paying off your home in the last 10 years of a 30-year mortgage. Our goal is to flip that by paying off the home in the first 10 years. To sum things up, we do charge a consulting fee and give you an exact path to pay off your debt. We can also provide consulting on what financing is needed. You get a welcome plan with the schedule of your payoff and allow for changes as unexpected expenses come up that will affect the payoff of debt. You will have access to our app that is soon to be released. For questions, please contact us at admin@debt2equity.net.
What you think? You like it? It might be new to you because it's really a different way to handle finances. And so I kind of want to just recap what the video said. And I would also encourage you to go to the website and watch the video a few times so that it can start to sink in, because it is a different way in the way you handle your finances. So essentially what we do when we sit down with somebody is we look at their overall debt, we look at their mortgage, we look at their car payments, whatever that might be. And then typically what we're going to do, as long as there's enough equity in the home, we'll do a debt restructure. And so the idea is to either refinance the first mortgage and then do also a home equity line of credit. Now, the questions come up as over the last year with interest rates going up like they have. You know, we've seen rates go up to as much as 7.5% on a 30-year fix. Does it make a lot of sense to refinance somebody's first mortgage if they're at 2.5%? What do you think? Probably not, right? And so we've kind of changed our focus, and what we used to do is refinance the first mortgage because rates were so low, and then pay a lot of the consumer debt off with that. However, with the fact that rates have gone up, we've changed that focus. We leave the first mortgage alone, then we do a home equity line of credit and pay off all of the debt with the home equity line. Now, because interest rates have gone up, equity line rates are not pretty. Right now, you're lucky if you get 9 or 10% interest on a home equity line of credit. So the thing I want to point out there is that when you look at this, if you take that debt that you've refinanced in the home equity line of credit, if you just pay the normal payment at 9 or 10% interest, that's not a good thing to do, because you're going to pay a ton of interest over time. It's going to take you 30 years to pay it off. And with our program, we are going to pay the debt down a lot faster. And so even though the note rate says it's 9 or 10%, because we're paying it off so fast, it's what we refer to as the effective interest rate, okay? What you're really paying, and it's going to be much less because you're paying off the debt at a much faster pace. And so even with these higher interest rates, we're still able to help clients get their debt paid off on average between 8 and 12 years, okay? So how does that work? Well, when you take the mortgage and all of the other debts and add up those payments, and we're going to pay all those debts now off with a new equity line, what that's going to do is it's going to lower their payment significantly. Thanks.
You can see yourself.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm not looking at myself. Anyway, so it's going to lower those payments. And so in most cases, it's going to free up money for people, okay? And what we would typically do with that is we would take that money now that we're freeing up and apply that towards the debt. And so what happens is you're paying the debt off at a much faster pace. And then as the video showed, your way of managing money now is completely different. So instead of taking things out of your checking account, putting your paycheck in there, paying your bills from that, your daily calculated interest that's being charged is going to be much less because you're putting your paycheck now into that line of credit, and then you take a credit card and pay your monthly expenses on that credit card. So gas, food, groceries, utilities, really anything that you can charge on the card is what you would want to pay that with.
So you got your Excels.
Okay.
Is that what you need?
That's what I need. That's
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, so any questions on any of that? Okay. All right, so I want to talk to you about a very specific case.
You can use the mouse over there. It's
Okay, I got it.
Alright.
Maybe.
So you can zoom down at the bottom on the right.
Okay, just going to go up here first.
Alright.
You guys even see that? I guess it's kind of small, isn't it?
So down on the right, there's the little slider.
Okay, all right.
That's tough. Over half of their payments going to interest.
Okay, so this is an actual case that we ran for somebody just a week ago. And when we sat down with them, they were really in a bleak situation. When we looked at their mortgage and their credit cards, they had, just in credit card debt alone, almost $80,000 in credit card debt. They also had a car payment where they owed over $70,000 on the car, okay? And then they had other debts as well.
Let me make that a little bit bigger for you.
Okay, thank you. And in fact, they were spending $1,800 more a month than what they were making. Okay? So they were on the fast track to bankruptcy. It was going to happen at some point in time. And they were literally living on those credit cards. And so we were able to look at it and determine that they had a fair amount of equity in their mortgage or in their home. And so we didn't do anything with the first mortgage at all. And let's see.
You can use the mouse to scroll.
Okay. So if we look at the first mortgage here, their balance was $462,000 and their interest rate was 2.75%. So you'll see that we didn't do anything with that mortgage. We just left that in place. And then going back to the equity line, what we did here is okay, so we paid off the credit cards and the auto and also their other debt of $58,000, okay? Now, we do charge a fee for our service of $29.95. The good news about that, though, is that we're not having the client pay us that out of their pocket because most people are not in a position where they'd be able to do that. So once the equity line is in place and we've put together their payoff schedule, that's when they pay it, and they pay it just directly out of the line of credit. Okay, and so so what happened here in this case is we took them from going in the hole by $1,800 a month, and made almost a $3,000 swing to where they were actually freed up. They had $1,200 a month that they now had in the positive. So we made about a $3,000 swing in their financial situation. Now, is that a life-changing event? Absolutely it is. Now, the things that we're trying to teach them is understanding why they can't just go buy stuff. They've got to be smarter with their money. And so in this case here, if we took that $205,000, even at 10.9% interest, they would their payment would be $1,945, and that $1,239 that we are now freeing up, we're going to use that to now aggressively pay down the debt. And so you notice over here on the balance, we started out at 205, and we're paying down the debt pretty quick. Okay, and so if I go all the way down here, and I apologize, this is just not my, this isn't my computer, so bear with me. All right, so anyway, they're out of debt in the line of credit in 178 months. Now, one of the things I forgot to show you, oh my gosh,
There's no touch.
I'm used to my tablet. All right, hey, is this fun or what? This is just proof that everything in the world could go wrong and you still can get through it. Okay. All right, so what's happening here is at some point in time, you're going to pay this balance down. And I'm just trying to see where we're at here because I'm not seeing much here. Okay, so this is what's happening. You see the balance is going down every month. And then you eventually get to a point where that $205,000 is almost paid off. In fact, in month 113 or so, that balance is nearly paid off. It's down to $2,800. Now in the next month, in month 114, the account balance would actually be paid off. So now that's when our focus can change and we can start taking money out of our home equity line of credit and dumping it towards the first mortgage. So that's what I show here is this is $38,220 that we're going to take out of the line of credit and apply it towards the first mortgage. Okay? And it takes about 13 months and that balance is almost, well, 12 months, it's almost paid off. In the 13th month it would be. So then we would take another $38,000 and apply that towards the first mortgage. Okay? And in so doing that, that's going to dramatically pay off the overall debt. So if you go over here to the first mortgage, this is just showing their normal monthly payment until we get to that point where there's that extra $38,000 that's going to be paid, which is right here. And about every 13 months, we're going to be paying an extra $38,000, as you can see. Okay? And then in month 176, all we would need to pay at that point is $6,000, and by month 178, the home is completely paid off. And that's, if you do the math, that's 14 years and 10 months. So we took a family that was going bankrupt, turned their situation around where we were freeing up $1,200 a month, and had them completely out of debt in 14 years and 10 months, where otherwise they probably would have lost their house and they would have lost everything. Okay? We make a difference here, and I want you all to understand that these are the kind of tools that you have at your disposal. Okay, so where do we find those tools? If you'll go to the back office, I can't navigate around, but here's my map. Okay.
You just talk.
You go to the back office, there's a tab there that says debt to equity. And I'll rub shoulders with you.
We're having a good time.
We're having a blast. So there's a debt to equity tab, and you click onto that, and you can actually fill an application out for your client. Okay? And as Rod brings this up, there's some specific things that I want to make sure when you fill it out that you are being pretty precise on the limited information that we're asking for, okay? And one of being is I need their address. I need their full address. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull comps and find out what value that home might come in at so that we can get kind of an idea how much equity they have in their home, okay? And so that's really important. The other thing that's really important is when you list what their mortgage payment is, when you ask a client what their mortgage payment is, what are they going to tell you? When you ask the question, what do they tell you? What's that?
They don't know the exact amount.
They don't know exact amount, okay? And when they do give you an amount, a lot of times it's including a number of things. Number one, their principal payment. Number two, their interest, their taxes, and their insurance. So they'll just lump it all in and say, well, this is my payment. But the thing that we want to eliminate is the taxes and the insurance, because that has nothing to do with the loan, okay? So you want to make sure that when you're getting that information, yeah, here it is, debt to equity right there, and then you just scroll down there, fill in your information, the client's information. This is the address. You want to make sure you get the complete address there. You want to put their monthly income, and then their estimated home value, their current mortgage as close as you can get, and what their interest rate is. That's important. And principal payments and interest payments. So that's all that we want there. And then you can go down further and fill in the other debts, credit cards, auto loans, that sort of thing. Yes?
Question online, what about PMI?
That still needs to be separated because it has nothing to do with the actual loan. It's insurance that you're paying for. Yes?
That's insurance, you said?
Yeah, PMI. So it's basically mortgage insurance, and then in most cases that's going to be somebody that maybe has an FHA loan and they have to pay mortgage insurance, and it only protects the lender, it doesn't protect the person. So if they ever default on the loan, then the mortgage insurance covers that expense, okay? So it's just principal and interest is all that you want to put on there, okay? Now when you hit submit, what will happen is I'll get an email. It goes to our debt to equity email, and then from there I will put together the numbers. I'll run the numbers and then send the summary back, right? Brian, you've been through that a little bit, right? So the summary back of how long we can get the client out of debt, or how long it takes them to get out of debt, and then we set up a time where we can go over those numbers with the client. So you can contact me directly when that happens, and we can set up an appointment. I'm happy to get on, meet with people personally or live, or we can do a Zoom call, and we can go through those numbers. So what you should be doing though is with your client is send them to the website, debttoequity.net, have them watch the video because it will explain it. Tell them to watch it as many times as they feel they need so they have somewhat of a basic understanding of how the plan works, okay? And then when we meet with them, they already have that education that they need, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over the numbers, and that was just what I was just showing you just now on that Excel spreadsheet, okay? And then we'll talk about the process of what it takes to get started. So first thing they have to do is they have to go get a home equity line of credit in most cases. If we're redoing the first mortgage in some cases, then they have to go through that process. So we make sure we lay the groundwork, we get all the loans done, and then once that's done, we do a final analysis on what the numbers ended up looking like, and then we reforecast and give them a final payoff schedule, which will tell them right to the day when their debt will be paid off. It'll tell them when to pay things and what they need to be paying. And it just takes away all of the guesswork. And like I said, we can tell right to the year and the month of when they're going to be out of debt. Now, I always preface this. I always say, no, listen, if in a perfect world, you're out of debt in 10 years, and you follow this plan, you are out of debt in 10 years. But notice I said perfect world. Do we live in that? No, we don't live in the perfect world. And so what I mean by that is we know that there's going to be expenses that will come up that will affect that payoff. Maybe the motor blows up on the car and you got to buy a new car. So when that happens, whatever the cost is for that new car, you just contact us, contact Debt to Equity and say, I've had this new expense, and we'll rerun the forecast for you. Now, it mentioned on the video that we have an app. It is actually working for the agents. We're just having a heck of a time getting it approved to be able to offer it through Apple. And so we've got it approved through Android, and it's just been, it's been a headache trying to get that approved, but we're gonna get there. I promise that we will. But in the meantime, we can still run the payoff for your client. And this is gonna do a couple of things for you all, okay? And that is when you sit down with somebody, Austin had a client about a year or so ago that we were able to help. And at the time, that client was only able to save like $500 a month in a retirement plan. I think he had an IUL prepared for them. But they had a lot of debt. They had a bunch of student loans and things that they were paying each month. And so we looked at this program, ran the numbers, and showed that they could actually be out of debt, completely out of debt in 8 years, and increase their monthly contribution to their IUL to $2,000 a month. So it went from $500 a month to $2,000 a month, okay? So there's two things that's happening here. Number one, you're changing a family situation, right? I don't think I'm gonna go through anything else, so.
Excellent.
All right,
All right, we'll blank this.
okay.
Good to go.
Awesome. Okay, so there's two things happening here. You're changing family's financial position immediately, really, literally overnight. And then two, you're also helping them save more money, because that's the thing that they need to understand. It's great to get out of debt, but it's more important to save for their future and save for retirement. So you can turn things and show them how they can get out of debt, in this example, 8 years, and increase their monthly savings. You're going to be also making quite a bit more money. Yes?
They have to be able to get a HELOC, correct?
They have to have a HELOC. That's the only way that this works.
And then they're asking, are they able to become agents as well? So they just need to know how they get paid on it.
Oh yes, that's a good question. You actually get paid for this. So we charge that consulting fee, which by the way, it's a one-time fee, and we call it a one-time lifetime fee. And we know that if, as circumstances change, we're not going to charge them anything extra to rerun their payoffs. If they sell their home, the plan is not tied to their home. It's tied to them. So if they sold their home and wanted to buy another home and needed to run a new payoff schedule for us, for them, we'll do it, okay? And of that fee, there is a commissionable amount that goes to Common Sense that counts as points, and also you get a commission check, okay? So you really have an opportunity to help people improve their situation, make money by setting up on a debt to equity plan, and increase your sales, raising their ability to save more money, okay? Yes?
I was just gonna say that you'd be really surprised at how many people are really struggling, but they don't have the vehicle to help them. And a lot of people just give up,
Yeah.
So this is a way to help get into the homes and, help people.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're doing some good things here, you guys, with Common Sense. And if you have that, we can't call ourselves financial advisors, right? We can't call ourselves financial consultants, right, Scott?
Right.
But what's wrong with financial professional? Okay, we're professionals here, and we want to be able to help people, and we're not just pushing a product. We're really putting together a sensible plan to help them reach their financial goals, okay? So if you have questions, please reach out to me. I was going to show my number. I'll just give it to you if you want to put it in your notes, but my number is 801-380-8891. If you have questions, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. If you have clients that we want to run a payoff through, just go through the back office. Now, there are some cases where we might need more details than what the back office offers, like with this client that we just helped, that was spending $1,800 more on what they were making. We had to get into the real nitty-gritty of where they were at. And so I have a separate form that gets into those specifics so that we can give them a realistic view of where they're at and how we can help them, okay?
Can this be used also commercially as far as a business with it?
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't think that there is a way to get like an equity line on your business. If there is, then maybe we could run it. As long as you have that source where you have a way to take money out and put money back in, which an equity line does. Equity lines really is a way to create your own banking, because you're not paying your bills through your checking account any longer. You're doing it all through your line of credit.
But could you use that money from the line of credit on your house to cover some business bills? Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and I guess that would be a way to do it, right, Scott, where if they had some business debt they wanted to pay off, if they had a line of credit on their home, they could do it that way,
Right.
for sure. Okay. Well, this was fun tonight.
So, on the business side,
What's that?
on the business side, they could get a business line of credit.
Okay.
Unsecured, the interest rates are gonna be fun,
Yeah.
but you could do that, but a secured loan's always lower interest rate.
Yes, it will be a lower interest rate, even with rates being higher right now, so.
Hey, Bill,
Hmm?
is there anybody that might wanna share they had some success with this?
Sure. Anybody here that we've done some plans for with their clients?
And I had a bank that on myself,
Yeah. And
so
you,
it's been going good.
yeah, you've
So
been
I'm
following
glad I did it.
following the process, and we got all your consumer debt paid off, right?
Yeah.
And you're well on your way to getting your home paid off.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Okay. Any questions? All right. I hope this was helpful tonight. It was a little tough, rough start, but we got through it. So thank you.
Good.
You know, I had, thank you, Bill, by the way, for putting that together and calling some audibles and working on your toes. So, I had a client work with Bill on that same program, and they talked to me after, and they said, you know, as he's talking to me, I understand what he's saying. I could not explain it to anybody else, but I understand what he's saying, and I just like that Bill. He's just a good guy. So, just trust a smiling face like that. So. Just to close this out, I did have a video, but we're not even gonna try and touch that right now. So, I did have something that I was listening to, despite what Ephraim thinks. I was at the gym this morning, and I've shared this before, but the audio came up again, and I'm not gonna play it obviously because there's a good amount of swear words in it, but he's talking about how when you start anything, whether it's a business, whether it's to get more in shape, the first step, the first day, the first minute, you're excited. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kill it. And the next day comes and you're like, man, it's a little bit tougher, but I'm still gonna do it. And then you take another step and another step, and then maybe you've gotten to Thursday or Friday, and now you're like, wow, this is actually pretty freaking hard to do. And then what happens is the enthusiasm from the beginning of the process starts to fade out. You've forgotten why you started. All you can think about is what's in front of you right now. All you can think about is that next grueling step, that next terrible workout, that next day at work, and you just can't stand it anymore. You forgot the purpose of why you started. Things become monotonous, they become hard, miserable, you become angry, and you become frustrated. Sounds pretty awesome, right? But he says that's normal. Okay? What happens when that energy fades? What happens when you start to get frustrated and it starts feeling like a grind and it's gritty and it's tough? It becomes much harder to move through the process. What happens then is most people choose to quit. Most people take that as a sign that they shouldn't be doing it. Most people take it as, well, it should be easy and it's not, so therefore I'm not going to do it anymore. Here's the most frustrating thing about quitting when things are really hard is because they're about to get easier, better, yes. They're about to get more fun. And this isn't anything, whether it's building a new business, trying a new diet plan, new fitness program, new skill, new hobby, whatever. It's gonna be hard at first, but it's always going to get more fun. You have to understand that the area where it seems really hard is where most people quit. In the beginning, they're gonna conquer the world, but after a few weeks, they start to get tired and they start to internalize it and asking, why is this so hard for me? Why is everybody else doing well and this is hard for me? They think the universe is coming down on them, and that's when people quit. When you start feeling that massive frustration and anger and irritation and stress, you're actually about to have a breakthrough. Most people turn and walk away from it and never experience that breakthrough. And they take it to other businesses, they take it to other experiences in life, but they never get to the point where that growth happens and they move to a new plateau. You're about to move through an area that most people cannot push through. You've just got to keep moving. When you make it through that area, that's where stuff gets fun. That's where you say, I'm actually doing this, I'm doing okay, and I'm treading water. The reason that 9 out of 10 businesses fail isn't because there's something wrong with their business. It's because there's something wrong with that business owner's mindset. They don't have the ability to make it through the first curve of frustration. Along your career and along your journey of becoming great at anything, you're going to have these curves appear over and over and over again. Things are hardest right before they get better. Things are at their most frustrating right before they get better. Things are the worst before they get better. It's always the darkest before the dawn. It's hard to remember that right as you're going through it. It's hard to remember that when you owe every single creditor. It's hard to remember that when your husband or your wife is yelling at you, saying you're spending too much time at work, or too much time in the weight room, or too much time on this and that. It's hard to remember that these things are going to get better, but they are. It's just part of the process. All of us go through these little curves. The grit, the grind, and the toughest, darkest parts of any journey are right before it starts to get really fun, okay? So you're gonna feel those. You're gonna be on top of the world in your business. You're gonna be at the bottom, and you're gonna feel like nothing's working. But just know that that's the roller coaster of life. And if you're on a low, that just means that you're about to ascend. So keep pushing, no matter where you're at. No matter how good or bad things seem, it's always going to get more fun. What we do here is so much fun. Bill, when you were setting up that plan for that client and you turned their life around and kept their house, that's fun, okay? That's absolutely fun. Just hearing about it gets you excited. So keep on keeping on, and we'll see you guys next week.